The destiny of the indigenous people is the romance of our age. The events which have transpired in history since the Atlantic slave trade, the liberation of African and Asian countries from the yoke of colonial domination, and the consciousness of the centrality of the aboriginal peoples of the world are to the highest degree romantic today. No matter how humanity plunges into self-destruction, there will always gather around the history of humanity a compassionate interest which must fire up the imagination, touch the heart, and stimulate the sympathies of all in whom there is a spark of humanity. Pope Francis's physical presence these days in his words to indigenous peoples in Canada go beyond Canada and reach the entire world, reaching especially Africa and Asia, where the worst of such evils inflicted on indigenous people happened during the colonial missionary times. This reading, which beyond difficult historical parallels, is shared by anthropologists and historians in different geographical areas, and today theologians, is a veritable breakthrough in human thought and moral life. The African historian, the African anthropologist, the African philosopher, and the African theologian receive this message in deep contemplation and thought. Deep contemplation and thought, because the worst of these kinds of things in the entire world is found in African missionary work of the 17th, the 18th, and 19th centuries, not to talk of the devilish, demonic Atlantic slave trade, the worst crime humanity has ever committed, the worst crime humanity has ever committed to humanity. Fellow friends, Pope Francis emphasizes that the global church should respect and learn from other cultures and not be afraid of the inculturation of their traditions in Catholic liturgy and worship. Here is wisdom on which the future of the world depends. It is the wisdom of the indigenous peoples, the wisdom of the ancients. The future of humanity and its present depends on listening to indigenous peoples, to what they profess as the meaning of this world, what they hold as a worldview, what they call can still let us learn from them, and to how man can still pioneer the challenging but salutary struggle to help all species both survive and thrive. Christian theology of the Catholic mood is an antidote to Christian jingoism. It is the antidote to religious racism. Therefore, the authentic central lesson of Christian theology is that every culture has something to contribute when we do faith. Cultures, varied cultures, and every culture deserves to be heard when we theologize. None has a monopoly on the road to the divine. This is because the other people of the other cultures are not failed attempts at being theological, at being contemporary. One of the striking things Pope Francis did in Canada, evocative of his seriousness about the subject he went there to address, is his ease at participating in and enjoying the solemn, soul-stirring, and spontaneous native and indigenous rituals. He felt at home, and you could see it from his aspect when he attended these spiritual rites of a people who also encounter God and see him through their own ethical and cultural and folklore eyes. Pope Francis' symbolic going to the cemeteries of their dead in his wheelchair spoke aloud. He bowed there in prayer and brought the world with him to the realization of a repentant Catholic Church and the deeds of its members on indigenous peoples. My deepest impression is that Pope Francis has that rare quality of a leader called human density. In all that he did, nothing showed signs of someone who was doing things just for the sake of satisfying officialdom or of mere grandiloquence or verbiage. His whole being was involved in the exercise. His was truly a contrite heart. When the time came for him to speak, Pope Francis did not recite the chants some political figures do when they want to do such an apology. He did not just request for forgiveness. He did not just ask for pardon. He went on his knees, figuratively because he was in a wheelchair. He begged for forgiveness and demonstrated sharp penitence. Remarkably, the message which God commanded Moses to bear to the tyrant Pharaoh was not, "Let my people go, they may be free." No. But, "Let my people go, they may serve me." As long as the domineering mainstream culture of Egypt towards their cultural instincts and ethical worldview, they remain dwarfs and will not meet that human potential that meets God and expresses its divine taste in its own unique way. The indigenous cultures of the world today, especially of the African and the Asian worlds and of South American worlds, must rise up and take their place. No culture is bigger than another culture. Cultures are cultures, with both their weaknesses and their strengths. And every culture has some quality, some nice thing, which another culture needs to learn. The humility of cultures. So Pope Francis brings this message to the world in the podium of the Canadian visit, saying, "Never again can the Christian community allow itself to be infected by the idea that one culture is superior to others, or that it is legitimate to employ ways of intimidating others